Welcome to Arizona football. Today it is opening night here on campus. The Wildcats getting set to take on the San Diego State Aztecs at 7 o'clock. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by Glenn Howell, U of A football class of 1985. And Glenn, I don't know that we've seen, opening night is always fun and it's always big, but this is about as big an opening night as I think we are going to see in a long time. Just the sheer pomp and circumstance that this head coach has put in to energizing this fan base around this program to try to get people not only to get into the seats, but to stay in the seats for the entire 4 quarters.
Dave, I think this is a bigger opening than Hamilton on Broadway. I think this is our championship way. This is a big thing. We have to have a great showing from offense, defense, and special teams. It's important that we play sound football.
What do you make, Glenn, of just what Jedd is doing? He's hit the fraternities on Thursday night to try to get kids energized. There's going to be a new thing at the beginning of the 4th quarter where he wants everybody to join arms and sing All Hail Arizona. There's a faction, I think, that say, hey, enough of the showmanship, let's coach some football. But I think that one of the things I've always talked about in terms of football is so many people are staying home from games because they feel like it's a better chance to watch it on TV. These are the types of things I think you have to do to create the ambiance to get more people inside stadiums.
I don't care what anybody says. I give kudos to Coach Fisch because he is promoting his program. We haven't had that in years, since Dick Tomey was here. Larry Smith used to do it, even when we had no social media. But it's great that he's doing it, and he has to get the fans out in the seats. And how he does that is every game we get better and better and better. And I think this is the next opportunity, and we will get better.
All right, my biggest concern in this game going in is the offensive line situation. Hearing Jedd talk on Thursday, it sounds like Jordan Morgan is questionable at best at the left tackle position. Donovan Laie played the end of the BYU game on a bad leg, so we don't know what his status is going to be. Glenn, you could be playing this game without the entire left side of your starting offensive line against a defense in San Diego State that blitzes and schemes and stunts as much as any in college football.
Yeah, I think Barola and Baker will probably step in there. Barola's been in it a couple times. He's been playing a little bit in years past, and I think I'm comfortable with those guys. They have to stay. It's the next man up, and this team is going to blitz us. So if Cruz is looking at his film from last week, he has to understand, get rid of the ball fast. The tight ends were open. Everybody was open. I was even open, I think, sometimes. So we have to be realizing that when they come, keep your eyes open and believe your eyes.
Well, you mentioned Edgar Barola. This is his opportunity now. He opted out of last year, suspended over some COVID-19 issues, but now's his opportunity. It seems like he's been a model citizen ever since he got back with the program. Now could be his opportunity to stand in there and really perform for this ball club. And you mentioned Gunnar Cruz. I think after going back and watching the tape a second time, and this was really something that had been talked about with him, I think, throughout the fall camp and really into the spring, is he does a really good job of taking care of the football, and I think that is important. Yes, he holds it too long. There's some times, and I think one of the other things that impressed me in the ball game was I was concerned whether he would be able to throw the ball in the middle of the field. He actually took some wild chances throwing the ball into the middle of the field, which maybe weren't the best decisions, but at least that showed me that he's getting over that mentality of being maybe afraid to throw the ball into the middle.
Yeah, I think he's got to be a little bit more cautious on that one because some of those throws were not very good throws. But hey, listen, you got to take what they give you. That's what they got to have the understanding. A perfect example was that. I know we're talking about the GOAT, but Tom Brady was just a training film. Understand what they give you and take it. Just take it. That's what we have to do.
On the defensive side of the ball, Glenn, I call them defensive marks. We had 8 tackles for loss. We had 4 passes broken up, and then we had 1 sack. So 13 defensive playmaking marks in that ball game. That's pretty good for a first ball game, I think, under Don Brown. Maybe you'd like to see more sacks, but to me, the tackles for losses are almost important as the sacks.
They are. They absolutely are. And I think that what we're learning is they're taking their assignments and doing their alignments. They're being in the right place. I keep on saying that all the time, but that's the most important thing on a blitzing defense. If you're in the wrong spot, that's going to make a gaping hole. So As we get better at that, then we're going to see more blitzes. We're going to see different kind of packages. We had delay blitzes. We had all kinds of different kinds of blitzes. I'm excited about Dr. Blitz, man. I think he's going to blitz somebody from the stands. So I'm excited about him doing that. So let's see how it produces against San Diego State and get pressure on a guy that's only passed for 120 yards last week.
Well, and that's the thing. I think you've got to force them to pass the ball. This is a team, San Diego State, that's going to want to come in here and run the ball down your throat. They've got an outstanding tailback in Greg Bell, who ran for over 160 yards. They ran for almost 300 yards last week against New Mexico State. That's going to be their modus operandi, is to try to run the football.
Yeah, and I think what I want to see more is plays by the linebackers. Linebackers, get off those blocks, get an arm around the guy, get the guy down. That's what I want to see more play from the linebackers. Side to side, getting in the hole and stuffing it at 1 yard at the line of scrimmage, and even at the line of scrimmage.
You know, it's going to be interesting. We'll talk a little bit about special teams as well, and we kind of went over the whole Lucas Haversack situation on Monday. It's going to be interesting, Glenn, because one of the things that Jedd Fisch said is we can't leave points on the field. Well, when you've got a kicker who's only 62%, the more you throw him out there, the more chances you have to leave points on the field. So I think it's going to be important to see what Jedd Fisch does in maybe some of those 30 to 40 yard situations, if he chooses to go for it in certain situations, or if he runs Lucas Haversack out there. I think just based on what he said, I believe he's going to continue to run Lucas Haversack out there, and I think you've got to do that to continue to have confidence in him for the entire season.
Lucas has everything that you need in a kicker. He has the foot, he has the strength. Now we got to get it in between here. Send him out there, let him kick it, have confidence in him. Tell the guys to say, hey, let's go. You know you can do it. If you have a confident kicker 6-7 games down the road when we might need that game winner against a ranked team or a team that's way better than us and we're hanging in there, that's when he'll come through.
Well, we talked about your guy, Max Zendejas.
Yes.
I had to go back and look at the numbers. 76% he was on his career. He wasn't even 80%, which was surprising to me. Although he had the bad first season when I believe he was only 60-something%, and he was pretty much 75% and higher the last 3 seasons here.
Yeah, and you looked at those kickers in the NFL, they're 80%, they're 80+% and over. I mean, 82, 83%. I mean, we have to have consistency in the kicking game. The kicking game is so important. The punter's doing a great job. We need another great job by him, pinning them down, kicking the ball up high, letting our coverage get in, and returning the ball. I think all 3 phases of the game, if we put all those 3 together, we're going to get a W.
Well, and I think it's two things stand out to me, Glenn, when I analyze college football and NFL football. It's amazing to me that the tight end position is so much more valued in the NFL than it is in college. And the other thing that stands out to me is how many games come down to kicks at the end of the game in the NFL versus in college football. And you wonder, how do these kickers in the NFL, because a lot of them probably never even kicked a pressure field goal in college, and then they go to the NFL and they have to kick pressure field goals not only every week, but sometimes multiple times in the fourth quarter.
I think, though, it comes down to the mental toughness. It's being able to understand that you can kick the ball, and it's all between your ears for those kickers. All those, there's tons of kickers that have, even in the IFL, when I was there, we had kickers that can boot the ball like the whole length of our field, which is not that far, but they couldn't get it between the bars. It was just mental, being visualization, doing all those things, being a strong-minded kicker.
What do you think about letting the Wildcats out of a cage before the ball game?
I don't know. Hey, I tell you what, it's Ringling Barlin Bailey Circus. We are working. Hey, I'm all for it. But we have to produce good football on the field. All the ancillary stuff is great. It's great for our fans. But if we continue to get better, we're going to get butts in the stands.
What was the movie? The Greatest Showman.
So on
well,
Earth.
That is Jedd Fisch right here. He is the greatest showman right now. We'll see if that translates into a win, because to be quite honest with you, Glenn, I said at the beginning of the year, I thought they would win these 2 ball games coming up. After what I saw last week against BYU, I feel they definitely have to win this ball game tonight to put this team on the right trajectory for the rest of the season. It's going to be critical to get the victory. All right, it is the Wildcats and the San Diego State Aztecs, and we'll be back to break the game down for you on Sunday night.